You know what I'm having for lunch today? A boring sandwich.
Okay, well, you don't ever have to make a boring sandwich again. How about something totally delicious and refreshing? My mouth is already watering with Grace Valla's suggestion.
Grace Valla, chef and food blogger, is showing us how to make a pesto chicken cutlet sandwiches. Grace, one question before we start. Are your cutlets breaded or are they just baked?
So I bake them, but you can also bread them or you can even grill them. But I have a question for you guys.
Yes.
Do you call these long sandwiches subs, hoagies, or grinders? Go.
Subs.
I call it a sub, but I know that here people call it a grinder.
I call them sometimes subs, hoagies, who knows? But regardless, I'm going to be showing you how to make these amazing pesto chicken subs. They're perfect during the weekday because they're really easy to make. And they also include your veggie, your carb, and your protein all in one sandwich. How good is that?
Nice.
Sounds absolutely
and
terrific.
yummy.
And it looks
okay.
delicious.
All right, how do we do it?
So we're going to start off with our chicken. So I have here some chicken cutlets that I'm just marinating in balsamic. So I'm just marinating it in a plastic bag here. You can do this overnight. You can do it right ahead. Doesn't matter at all. And you can also use chicken breasts, but chicken cutlets are a little bit thinner, so they're nice on these sandwiches.
Okay.
So you're gonna pop your chicken cutlets on a baking sheet in the oven at about 400 degrees for 15 minutes until they're completely cooked through. But while they're cooking through, we're going to work on our pesto. So I have a special pesto recipe for you. I absolutely love broccolini pesto. It's my favorite, not only because it has like veggies in it, but it just tastes really, really good. And if you haven't heard of broccolini, it's also called baby broccoli. And it has like this weird long stem. It's kind of weird looking, but it's nice and sweet. And when you cook it, it stays nice and al dente. So it's really good for a pesto. So all I did was I cooked my broccolini, steamed it for about 3 to 4 minutes, threw it in some cold water to stop the cooking process, and then just patted it dry. And I'm gonna go ahead and add a few generous handfuls into a food processor here. And then I'm gonna add all my fun pesto ingredients. So I have some walnuts. They're like finely chopped walnuts. And you can also use just pine nuts. That's like the classic pesto recipe. And then I have some Parmesan cheese, and the Parmesan is going to add a saltiness, a nuttiness, and again, very classic for pesto. And then I have lots of garlic. I have 2 huge garlic cloves. You gotta have your garlic in your pesto. And then I have some red pepper flakes, and you can add red pepper flakes in, or you can just omit it if you're not like a spicy fan. I just like a little back heat though. So then the last step is just some olive oil, and the olive oil is just going to bind everything together. You want to be relatively generous because you want to make sure that it gets nice and smooth and mixes all together. So you're going to go ahead, blend this all together into your desired consistency. I like mine pretty smooth, but look how pretty this is. Isn't it pretty?
Yeah, it's
like
so nice.
A bright green.
Looks amazing.
Yeah, you know, sometimes when you make pesto, you would just throw herbs in. I'm just asking, if you didn't cook the broccolini, would that be a bad thing, or you need to cook it?
So I would definitely cook it because uncooked, it has almost like, it's like very like tough to chew on. So I would definitely cook it off a little bit. But to your point, you can add some like basil in there too, just to add that like herb element too.
Okay. So
we have our pesto, we have our chicken ready, and it's time to assemble. So I have a just regular hoagie bun. You can also, you know, use like a wheat bun if you prefer, if you want a little healthier option. And I have some provolone cheese slices. And I'm just gonna add about 2 slices per sandwich. And you can put this under the broiler and get it nice and melty too. And it's like, so 100 times better. And then I have my chicken cutlet here, and I'm just gonna cut it in half. I usually use about like 3 halves per sandwich. I'm gonna go ahead and layer that right in. And then I have some very thinly shaved sweet onion. And sweet onion's really good because it's very, very mild. So it's just gonna add more like a crunch than like a super oniony taste. And then I have some cherry tomatoes, and that's gonna add some freshness, just like a little acidity. And then my pesto, the the star of the show. I like little dollops, but you can also kind of spread it on there too if you prefer. And then the final step is I have some balsamic glaze. You can just get this right in the grocery store, or you can even like cook off regular balsamic until it gets thick. And I'm just gonna do a little fancy zhuzh, and you end up with this. Isn't it so beautiful?
That is
so pretty. And I love any sandwich that's warm. I don't like cold sandwiches.
Oh,
so this would be great.
totally agree. I'm like in the warm sandwich camp. Give me a grinder, sub, hoagie, and I'm happy.
Okay, Grace, we'll be by the house in about 15 minutes.
Could you have it ready?
Please. Oh, yeah. I have plenty, so come on over.
Thanks, Grace. We appreciate it. What a great job.
Yeah, be sure to follow Grace on Instagram at Tastefully Grace to see her awesome recipes. You can also watch her on YouTube and follow along. Just search Tastefully Grace.